I grew up believing hard work solves everything. If your grades aren't good enough, work harder. If your relationships are struggling, work harder. If you're unhappy, work harder. And honestly, for a long time, that belief served me really well. Because hard work does solve a lot of problems. But over the last year, I've been realizing something that's been surprisingly difficult to accept. Not every problem is an effort problem. Whenever my life felt uncertain, my instinct was always the same: work harder. Looking back, I don't think it was just because I was ambitious. I think it was because effort was the one thing no one could take away from me. When my family disowned me, I rebuilt my life. I couldn't control whether they'd ever accept me again, but I could control the next thing I built. When I moved across the country, I adapted. I couldn't control whether I'd feel at home, but I could keep moving. When I started my business, I worked on it every day. I built listings, I studied astrology, I learned marketing, I started Pinterest, and now YouTube. I changed my health. I kept showing up. I couldn't control who would discover my work, but I could make another listing. I couldn't control when things would take off, but I could sit down and work again tomorrow. And honestly, that strategy got me pretty far. Because every time life became uncertain, working harder gave me something I could control. It made me feel like I was making progress. But recently, I hit a really strange point. I realized I was doing everything I knew how to do. The business was growing. The work was getting better. I had healthier habits. I was creating consistently. I wasn't avoiding anything anymore. And over the last few weeks, I've been catching myself saying the same sentence. I'm doing everything I can. But almost immediately, another thought would show up. Maybe I just need to work harder. And that's what confused me. Because for years when something wasn't working, more effort usually was the answer. Yet there was still this part of me that kept thinking, maybe I just need to work harder. And that's when it hit me. Maybe I'm trying to solve the wrong kind of problem. Because hard work is incredible, and the problem is skill. If you want to become better at something, hard work matters. If you want to build a business, hard work matters. If you want healthier habits, hard work matters. But some things don't respond to more effort. Trust doesn't. Relationships don't. Timing doesn't. Letting your work compound doesn't. No amount of working until midnight can force people to discover you tomorrow. No amount of planning can make life unfold on your schedule. And so maybe the business isn't asking me to work harder anymore. Maybe it's asking me to keep showing up. Those aren't the same thing. Some problems ask you to work. Others ask you to wait. And those two things are not the same. I think for most of my life, I've treated every problem like it was an effort problem. If something wasn't happening, I assumed maybe I hadn't earned it yet. But maybe that's not always true. Maybe there comes a point where working harder isn't what builds the next chapter. Maybe consistency is. Maybe patience is. Maybe giving your previous hard work enough time to become visible is. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't working harder. It's continuing to show up when there's nothing left to prove today. So lately, I've been asking myself a different question. Instead of asking, am I working hard enough? I've started asking, am I trying to force something that's only going to come with time? Because if that's the problem I'm actually facing, then working harder isn't the answer. Working steadily is. And I honestly wonder how many of us are exhausted, not because we aren't doing enough, but because we're trying to solve a timing problem with more effort. Maybe some seasons aren't built by effort. Maybe other seasons are built by letting effort compound. And maybe wisdom is learning the difference.